Night and day, light and dark, the balance in all things. This is Equinox, the duality Warframe. Equinox is almost pure support. Her abilities focus on half supporting her allies, and half on hindering enemies. Every one of her abilities possesses two effects, depending on which of her forms you're in at the time. Equinox's passive causes health and energy orbs to restore the other for 10% of what could be restored. So, for instance, if you pick up a health orb that gives 50 health, then you gain 5 energy as well. Conveniently, this stacks with mods like Equilibrium well. Additionally, her form she starts with in levels depends on how bright the emissive color on her fashion is. So, this would be day, and this is night. Metamorphosis enables Equinox to swap between her day and night forms. Upon swapping to night, Equinox gains both bonuses to armor and shields, additive to her base for the duration. Swapping to day will give her damage and multiplicative movement speed bonuses. Only one of these bonus effects can be active at one time. So if you swap to day, you'll lose your armor and shield bonuses, and vice versa. Rest and Rage hypnotizes enemies into one of two states based on Equinox's current form. While in night form, casting Rest, enemies will be put to sleep for the duration, or until they lose enough health. Enemies asleep become vulnerable to finishers, and are susceptible to stealth damage bonuses, being ragdolled when damaged. When casting Rage in day form, enemies gain increased movement and attack speed, while becoming more vulnerable to damage. The speed increase may sound like something you don't want enemies to have. However, causing enemies to cut their defense in half is a very nice trade-off. Along with this, you can swap forms and cast the inverse ability to gain benefits from both, essentially putting enemies to sleep, then making them take more damage. So remembering to use both forms of each ability is a very useful part of her kit. Pacify and Provoke aid your allies in different ways. In night form, Pacify lowers the damage that enemies within range of Equinox deal to her and her allies. While in day form, Provoke will cause allies within range to have increased ability strength. Both of these abilities create a ring that can be seen that marks the range of the ability. This ability is counted as a channeled ability, draining energy for each target being affected. So do keep that in mind, because you can drain your energy very fast if you're not careful. Using her full restorative and destructive power, Mend and Maim is perhaps Equinox's best ability, which you would expect considering it's her 4. Mend, while in night form, will cause Equinox to create a restoring area around her. Equinox will absorb a portion of the damage dealt to killed enemies' health and shields while in range. Upon deactivating Mend, Equinox will restore her and her allies' health and shields based on the absorbed damage. If she restores more shields than allies possess, she'll grant overshields. This effect is actually one of few restorative abilities that work on defensive objectives, giving it increased utility in defense missions. Casting Maim while in day form will cause Equinox to instead create a radius around her that deals stagger and slash damage. Damage dealt to enemies killed within the radius will be stored, and released as slash damage upon deactivation. This ability does not have line of sight, meaning it will strike through walls as well. For both abilities, the total absorbed damage can be seen at the top of your screen. And using Metamorphosis will immediately cancel the duration and unleash its absorbed damage. Equinox's kit is very good at what it tries to do, in my opinion. While she may not be able to deal as much damage outside of Maim, that's not really her goal. Her main intention is making enemies easier to deal with, and helping allies stay in the fight, and she does that job very well. While she might not be the greatest healer in the game, again, she's support in more ways than just healing. So I highly encourage people, one, to take up a support class, to take a look at her and maybe give her a try. At rank 30, Equinox has 370 HP, 370 shields, 135 armor, and 225 energy. She has a Nairmond aura slot, along with 1 Matter Eye and 1 Vazarin Polarity. Equinox Prime has an additional 95 HP, 25 armor, 25 energy, and an additional Matter Eye and Vazarin Polarity. Equinox's primary blueprint can be purchased from the market, while her other parts can be found at the Tile Regor assassination mission on Uranus after completion of the Nata quest. It should be noted, she is unique in that she has 8 parts to farm, as opposed to 3. As you need to get the parts and main blueprints to both her night and day forms, then craft both of those, and then craft them with her main blueprint, making her not only have the most amount of parts needed for a Warframe, but also take the longest to craft. So that's something to keep in mind as well if you want to go after her. Let's see her in action one last time. Compassion and Fury. Embody them both, Tenno.